Hello, second grade. This is our math lesson. It is math lesson 89. We will be going, I will be uploading today 89, 90, and 91. So there's going to be quite a bit of lessons. I'm so sorry that I got these out very late. I have been, I was getting ready the packets that you have now, so it took me a little bit to get back on track, but here we are. This is lesson 89, and we're going to be learning how to multiply. So I know you guys have been waiting so long to be able to multiply, and finally we are here. But before we start talking about multiplication, I want to talk about what it is. Before we start doing multiplication, I want to start talking about what multiplication is, because it's so important for us to know what it is so that way we can do it. Okay, so let's begin. So today we're going to learn how to group things. It's very simple. You know how to group things. Okay, you know very well how to group things. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to put a picture. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put a picture of a couple, maybe like 100 pieces of something. Okay? And after I do that, I am going to ask you to help me group them. It's as simple as that. Okay? So let me share my screen with you so that you can see the pieces that we're going to use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share with you a little picture that I drew. Let's pretend that they're beans, they're green beans. And I'm going to have 100 of them. Okay, so let me share my screen. Here they are. That is 100 beans. Now, let's count. Let's first count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. How many are there across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many are there this way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What about across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means that every single row, boys and girls, has 10 beans. Now, if I asked you to group these beans into equal groups, what would you do? I want you to group all of these beans, to put them in groups where each group is going to get the same amount as everyone else. So we're sharing, okay? We are going to be sharing. We're going to be sharing all of these beans with other students, and I want each student to get the same amount of beans. So what are we going to do? They're each row has 10. And I want 10, I have 10 students. So how many groups am I gonna get? Let's see. 1, 1, I'm gonna go like this just so that you guys can see it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So how many groups do we have? We have 10 groups, right? Let's count. The yellow are the groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I know that you are probably a little confused because this is new. So if you're feeling a little confused, that's okay. We are gonna keep on practicing. If you feel confident that you know how to do it, then great. But you still need to review more, okay? So let's look. How many yellow groups do we have? We have 10 groups. Now, this is how we do multiplication. We have 10 groups, and how many beans are in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, we have 10. So 10 times 10 of these little beans gives me, so I want to know how many beans are there all together with all of these groups. So the yellow is the group and the green is the beans. So 10 times 10 equals, so there are many ways to do this. We can memorize these math facts, these multiplication facts, or you can sit there and count every single bean. What do you think would be faster? To memorize this, the answer, or to count every single bean? I think memorizing, right? So if we were to count every single bean to see how many beans are there for the whole thing, we would sit here and count 100 beans. Do you see that? We're gonna try again with different examples. But what I want you to know is that in multiplication, you are always gonna multiply one number by another number. The first number is gonna be groups. How many groups do you have? And then the second number is gonna be how many things are inside the groups. And your answer is going to be counting every single thing that there is all together. Okay, so let's do another example in case you're a little confused. So let's see. Okay. Let's say I have 6 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just because I can't fit it, I'll put it up here. 6. Okay, I have 6 groups. This is my multiplication problem. 6 times 6 times 10 equals how much? So what are they telling us here? 6 times 10 means there's 6 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 groups. Sorry, I lost my. Okay, there's 6 groups, and then they're telling us there's 10 green beans or 10 things in each of the groups. So let's go ahead and put that in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do it over here. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, boys and girls. So what they're telling us here is that there's 6 groups and then there's 10 things inside each group. I want to know how many of these things are there all together. So there's a lot of ways that you can do it. You can sit there and count every single one of those things. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So our answer is 60. You could sit there and count every single one of them, but it's going to take you a very, very long time. The other thing you can do is add, right? So it's telling you you need to add 10 6 times. So you're going to put 10 plus, so 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, you got it, plus another 10 plus another 10 equals, and you would count 0, 0, 0 equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so our answer is 60. You can do that, or you can learn a pattern. 6 times 10 equals 60. What changes? The 6, right? So the 6 becomes a 60. Whenever there's a 1-digit number, you multiply it by 10. Whenever you multiply a single-digit number by 10, it's going to give you that single digit plus a 0. So let's try that again. So I'm going to write these down, and I want you to see what the different different patterns are, okay? So if I put 10 times 0, 10 times 1, that X means times. Make sure the X looks like an X. So Ms. Santana did not do a good job there. Sometimes it's hard with this control. Okay, 10 times 2 equals 10 times 3 equals, let's do that one again. 10 times 4 equals, and then we'll put it over here. We'll do one more. 10 times 5 And then we'll do it again over here. 10 times 6. 10 times 7. 10 times 8. 10 times 9. 10 times 10. 10 times 11. Okay, so let's see what the pattern is. So 10 times 0, so it's saying you have 0 groups with 10 in it. Or you have 10 groups with 0 things in it. You have 10 groups with 0 things in it. How many things do you have? 0. Anything, boys and girls, that is multiplied by 0 will equal 0. Okay? So 10 times 0 equals 0. You have 10 groups, so we want to know how many things are in all of the groups. You have 10 groups with 0 things in it. How many things do you have? 0. Okay. You have 10 groups with 1 thing in it. How many things do you have? 10. You have 10 groups with 2 things in it. How many groups, how many things do you have? 20. So this is what we do. Anytime you multiply by 0, it equals 0. Anytime you multiply something by 1, it always gives you the number you're multiplying by. So 2 times 1 will always give me this number. 3 times 1 will always give me this number. It will always show you that 1 is like a mirror. And when the number stands before the 1 will tell it who it is, right? The 1 will tell it who it is. It'll tell it it's a 2. It'll tell it it's a 3. It will tell it it's a 4. It will tell it it's a 5. Whatever the number is, the 1 acts like a mirror, and it tells that number who it is, right? So boys and girls, isn't it the same way with our Lord, with Jesus? When we're before the one, the Creator, right? When we're before Him, the one God, when we're before the one, doesn't He tell us who we are? Doesn't He tell us that we are loved? Doesn't He tell us that we are His children? Right? So whenever a number is before a 1, it will tell it who it is. So let's continue. So 3 times 0 equals 0. So the way that we multiply when it's vertical is you multiply up and then you multiply sideways. Do you see that? Up, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways. So what's the first thing that we're going to do? What's 3 times 0? 0. Anytime a number is multiplied by 0, it always equals 0. What is 3 times 1? Remember, the 1 is like a mirror. It tells a 3 who it is. 3 times 1 equals 3. Good job. 30. 4 times 0 equals 0. 4 times 1, remember the 1's like a mirror. It tells the 4 who it is. So 1 times 4 equals 4. 5 times 0 equals 5. Sorry, 5 times 0 equals 0. 5 times 1, remember the 1 acts like a mirror and it tells the 5 who it is. 5 times 1 equals 5. 6 times 0 equals, you're right, 0. And 6 times 1, the 1 acts like a mirror and it tells the 6 who it is. And the answer is 6 times 1 equals 6. 7 times 0 equals 0. And 7 times 1 equals, remember the 1 tells the 7 who it is, 7. So we have 70. 8 times 0 equals 0. 8 times 1, remember the 1 tells the 8 who it is, 80. 9 times 0 equals 0. And 9 times 1 equals, remember the 1 tells it who it is, 9. So you see how easy it is? It's very easy. The 10s are very easy. Now, it's the same when we get over here, but it's a little bit more trickier. The first thing that we do is we start at the bottom. We always start at the bottom. We always start with this number. We always start at the bottom. 0, and we're going to do the same thing. Listen up because this is going to be a little tricky. 0 times 0 equals 0. 0 times 1 equals 0. Okay? 1 times 1 equals, remember the 1 tells the number at the bottom who it is, 1. So 10 groups with 10 things in it has 100 pieces all together. Okay? So, okay. So boys and girls, we just finished off there with 10 times 10 equals 100. Now, once it gets to 11, once it gets to the 2-digit numbers, it's a little bit more tricky, and we will go over that later. I just don't want to go ahead and confuse you quite yet because we're just learning the multiplication, okay? So what I'm going to tell you is we're gonna count, and then we're gonna try to figure out what it is, okay? But I don't wanna confuse you quite yet. Not that I want to confuse you. I don't want to introduce that right now, just because we are just dipping our toes into multiplication. Okay, so let's see what the pattern is. It starts at 0, and then it adds 10 every time. So multiplication is also adding the same number over and over and over again. So if I add 10 0 times, I get 0. If I add 10 1 time, I get 10. If I add 10 plus 10 equals 20. What about 10 plus 10 plus 10? 30, right? It goes by 10. So we're counting by 10s. Do you see that? So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So what do you think 10 times 11 is? 110. Good job. So another way to do this, I just taught you one way. You can either go 0 times 0 equals 0, and then you multiply the tens column. 0 times 1 equals 0. What about this one? 1 times 0 equals 0. 1 times 1 equals 1. Please, boys and girls, make sure that you're not adding. You are not adding when you multiply. Okay? Another way that we can do this that I want to show you just really quick. Another way that we can do this, another trick, is you put the number here and then you add a 0 at the end. This trick only works when you're multiplying by 10. So you put a 0. So what is that? It's still 0. So you put the number down first. You bring the number down, 1, and then you add a 0 to the end, 10. You bring the number down, 2, and you add a 0 to the end. You bring the number down, and you add a 0 to the end. You bring the number down, and you add a 0 to the end. You put the number down, and you add a 0 to the end. You put the number down, again, a 0 at the end. Number down, a 0 at the end. Number down, which is this number, right? You put a 0 at the end. This number down, you put a 0 at the end. This whole number down, and you put a 0 at the end. This whole number down, and you put a 0 at the end. So that's another trick. I just taught you a couple of different ways on how to multiply. You can either do the trick and put the number down and then put a 0 at the end, and that's your answer. Or you can multiply up and then across, up and then across, up and then across. 1 times 0. Anything you multiply by 0 is always going to be 0. Anytime you multiply a number by 1, the 1 is like a mirror, and it'll tell that number who it is. So the 1 acts like a mirror, and it tells this 1 that it is a 1. And then it'll do the same for the 2. The 2 looks at the 1, and the 1 tells it, you're a 2. And you get a 2. The same with the 3. The 3 looks at the 1, 3 times 1, and the 1 tells it, you're a 3. The 4 looks at the 1, and the 1 tells it, it's a 4. The 5 looks at the 1, and the 1 tells it, you are a 5. Okay? So those are a couple of ways on how to multiply. I'm sure you have already done your worksheet. If you need to go back and do your worksheet again, the math fact worksheet, please go ahead and do that so that way you can go ahead and relearn that, okay? I miss you all. I'm here in the classroom, and it's so nostalgic to be able to be here and see all these empty desks. But know that I am praying for every single one of you, and I will see you very soon. Totus Tuus, Maria.